Tour.
Okay. Hello, video folks. This is Jenny. Jenny is in New York. Jenny is in a real radio studio.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Whoa. Whoa, dude.
This is where many successful radio shows and podcasts tape, including Alec Baldwin's Here's the Thing. Comes here sometimes.
Is it true you were born in that very room?
Well, I wasn't born there. I was born in a hospital.
Right in the middle of those microphones?
But I was before this was a radio studio. This was my very first bedroom ever. So there you go. There's the tour. That's what you get on the video.
Jenny was born with a microphone in her hand.
Quite almost literally.
She was born podcasting.
Or as they used to call it, public radio.
Good. So yeah, we're just doing a little early video. So
Cool.
you video folks watching, you know, it's a little ramp up. Think of it as like a decompression chamber for the show.
Yep.
You
And
get a little Ellie crying.
little Ellie crying, little taste of what it's like on our show before the show.
Yeah.
Are we the only podcast with a baby, a Pomeranian, and a Frenchman? I don't know.
Sounds like a step
Walk
to it.
into a podcast.
Yeah. So, all right, well, that's good. So, and now people can hear me say media, media, media.
But I already pressed it.
Oh,
But it's good that you said it. Because one day I won't.
Yeah.
So keep saying it.
Okay. Did you remember yesterday when I was on
I
an airplane?
did. I was so proud of myself.
Good job.
All right. Well, Patrick Beja, do you have any questions about the lineup?
I'm just hoping I'm going to make it to the end of the show.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Hang in there, Patrick. I believe in you.
We'll keep it moving.
I do believe in Patrick. I do believe.
You know what it is? I think the problem is I've been eating gluten. And every time I do, for like a week, I get terrible headaches and I get tired and...
You've got a gluten headache.
Yes, exactly. A glutache.
I mean, it's essentially an allergy headache. That makes sense. I'm sorry, man. We'll do the show quietly.
Welcome to the Daily Tech News Show.
Shh, Patrick has a headache.
Very, very quiet.
All right, well, let's go. Let's just get this. Let's get this
Media,
thing going.
media. Wait.
Media.
What?
Media.
Your media's good.
Okay.
You're well covered. All right, here we go.
Google Translate says support DTNS. If you fail to become a Patreon, all searches will return a Rickroll. Go to bit.ly/helpdtns or say hello to Mr. Rick Astley.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015. Election Day in some cities, but apparently not mine, because I didn't get a ballot. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Mr. Patrick Beja. It's not Election Day in Paris, France either, is it?
If it is, no one told me.
If it's Election Day in LA, nobody told me either. But yeah, there's like a big Airbnb ballot initiative in San Francisco. Big fights and protests and all kinds of crazy stuff there. That is not in our headlines, but Activision Blizzard buying King Digital is, and Patrick and I are going to talk about some of the things that might mean for not only Blizzard, Activision, but for mobile gaming and all of that. But let's start with the headlines. Twitter has replaced the favorites star icon. I don't know if I can go on, Patrick. They replaced it with they're calling it a like now, and it's a heart icon. In a blog post, Twitter product manager Akarshan Kumar wrote, "You might like a lot of things, but not everything can be your favorite. That's why they changed it to like." He says the heart, in contrast, is a universal symbol that resonates across languages, cultures, and time zones. I'm not sure why a star wouldn't resonate across a time zone, unless it means night and it's day in your time zone. Anyway, the hearts icon's rolling out today to Twitter.com, TweetDeck, Twitter for Windows 10, Twitter apps for iOS and Android, and the Vine Android app. For some reason, Vine for iOS and Twitter for Mac. Won't get the update until later, but they will get the update as well. I want to say, Patrick, that TweetDeck still had stars after Hearts had invaded most of those other platforms today, and I starred one of your posts as my
Well,
last star favoriting act.
I would like to encourage everyone to do the same and to go star some of my posts as their last star favorite act, if they can. But no, it was interesting. I think initially the favorites were being used as maybe save for later indicators, and as time has gone on for the past couple of years, people have just started using the favorite as it's a tweet that I want to acknowledge, but I don't really want to reply. I don't really want to retweet it, so I'll give it a star. And in that context, I think hearts do make a lot more sense. So.
Yeah, I used to resist using the star because it was favorite, and I was like, well, I'm not going to favorite this. And then when Twitter started putting favorites in your stream as an alert, when you saw people had favorited your post, I started getting that, like, oh, that's nice. They like it.
Exactly.
Notice what I said there. And so I started using it more. So really this doesn't change much. A heart, on the other hand, does imply a more of a love connection between you and that post than a star did. So I don't know about that.
I like it. Gmail announced Smart Reply, a new feature of its inbox email app that simplifies replying to emails. Smart Reply uses machine learning to recognize emails that need responses and then offers 3 responses to choose from. The app will also learn which responses you use and adapt to offer up more appropriate replies. Smart Reply is due to launch later this week.
So I commit when it launches, I will only reply to you, Patrick, with one of the machine learning responses from now on. It's the only way I'll communicate with you. Yes, forever.
Okay, so it's good that you tell me that, because I'm guessing that not all of them are going to be appropriate to the context of the conversation, so now I'll understand why you're being weird.
Yeah, why it doesn't make, well, it probably won't make any less sense than I usually do, but this could be interesting. I think this is the kind of thing that could speed some stuff up. I don't feel like I personally run into too many of those, like, yep, that sounds great situations as I used to. Like when I worked at CNET, particularly, this would have come in extremely handy because there were lots of those rote responses where you just had to acknowledge things, and I could see it learning that really fast.
So do you use them on SMSs? I mean, I know on iOS they sort of pre-fill some of your replies if you're already doing something. Or
yeah, I use it on my way,
on the watch, or
on my way home. Sometimes those. That's about the only one I could think of that I use though.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably not going to be very accurate initially, but it might learn over the next few years with machine learning being better and better. So
yeah. Runeitude noted on our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, that Microsoft is getting rid of unlimited OneDrive cloud storage for Office 365 home and personal paid subscribers. Now, your limit is only a terabyte of storage. Feels weird to say only a terabyte, but compared to unlimited, that's a dial back. Pray they don't alter the deal further. Microsoft says it's because some people were abusing the unlimited service, storing as much as 75 terabytes of data. You said unlimited. You didn't tell Mr. 75 terabytes he couldn't do that. That doesn't also explain why the company is also replacing its 100 gigabyte and 200 gigabyte plans with a 50 gigabyte plan for $2 a month, and how free OneDrive users are going to see their limit lowered from 15 gigabytes free to 5 gigabytes free. Paid users who are unhappy with the decision are going to be offered prorated refunds. But I loved that OneDrive was doing this. Storage is cheap. I figure there's ways to deal with those few people who abuse it with 75 terabytes. And there are other services out there that provide unlimited that have figured those things out. So I don't know what's really going on here. It feels like Microsoft is stepping away from cloud storage in a way. And that just doesn't make sense to me.
I think it might be market correction, and they're thinking maybe they want to push people to Office 365 subscription that come with a 1 terabyte drive anyway, storage space anyway. So I don't know. The more interesting question to me is, have you decided to do Star Wars references every day of the week this week? Because I think you made one yesterday, and here you kind of did Pray I Don't Alter the Deal Further. So I'm curious now.
I don't know. Maybe there's been an awakening.
All right, Activision. Oh, do you want to still talk about Microsoft?
The only other point I would make is that it does seem like Windows 10 really built itself in some ways around the idea of easy to access storage, although Ars Technicus Peter Bright rightly points out that they did get rid of one of the cool things in Windows 8 where they would adapt your storage and just show you an icon even if something wasn't stored locally and then allow you to download it. And now with Windows 10, they've gone back to more of a Dropbox type of storage where you have to manage it more manually. So maybe that was all in my mind, but I do feel like Windows 10 was really attractive when you could get unlimited storage if you paid for Office and think of that as a package. And now at only a terabyte, now I have to think about storage again. So
for 1 terabyte, you have to think about storage?
I'm a digital hoarder, though. I admitted yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too. I think it's market corrections. I think they might have they might have crunched the numbers and figured, if we do it that way, it's going to work out better in the end. Because they are a little bit more expensive than, if I'm not mistaken, than other similar offerings. So
yeah, I think it's a crappy move, really. But yeah, it's the market, like you
said. Maybe they'll reverse themselves. We'll see. Activision Blizzard has agreed to acquire King Digital Entertainment, makers of Candy Crush Saga, for an incredible $5.9 billion. Activision Blizzard will pay $18 a share for King, which is below the $22.5 a share it debuted at after its IPO last year. King's CEO Riccardo Zacconi and COO Stefan it sounds French. Corrigan will sign long-term employment contracts, and King will operate as an independent unit.
Well, this is going to be our main topic here, obviously, but wow, huge thing. Like, this is the biggest gaming acquisition since Minecraft got bought by Microsoft. So,
which was significantly lower priced. So
yeah,
it's really interesting also, as you were saying, in what it says about the state of smartphone gaming or mobile gaming. And we'll discuss this further.
Mozilla launched the Firefox 42 browser for Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android with tracking protection, tab audio indicators, and background link opening in Android. The improved tracking protection is not only protecting your browsing history as it did before, but also blocks website elements like ads and tracking elements in buttons. This is similar to what the add-ons Ghostery or Privacy Badger do. So there's a control panel where you can tell if a site isn't working because it's blocking those things. In other browser news, independent browser Vivaldi came out of alpha and into beta today at Vivaldi.com. I've been using Vivaldi on both Windows and OS X, and I really liked the alpha, so I'm excited to play around with the beta some more today.
How is it satisfying your browsing needs?
Well, okay, I have a very niche need for that, which is I like to log into various of my podcasting accounts in a separate browser so I don't get like confusion amongst things. So I use Vivaldi for FSL Tonight purposes, but it worked really well. I was mostly using it to post podcasts, manage WordPress, go to the Patreon, manage the Patreon, and it always was fast and light and easy to use, as new browsers often are because they're not loaded down with a bunch of other features.
Well, good to know. Pinterest announced it is rolling out buyable pins to Android phones today. Buyable pins let retailers partner with Shopify and Demandware to add a buy button to pins. Users who enter their credit card number and address in Pinterest can then buy items instantly by tapping the buy button. Didn't that already happen a while ago? It seems like we've been hearing about buyable pins for like a year. There's rumors and everything, but
yeah, there's been rumors about buyable pins for sure, and that's probably most of what you're thinking about. But Pinterest has been also partnering with shopping partners, the Shopify and Demandware to be particular, with special pages and things like that. So this is the rollout of the ultimate, right? If I'm a retailer, I just want to have pins floating out there that people can just click and buy those shoes or that handbag or whatever as soon as they want. Intel Capital invested some money and took an ownership stake in Freedom Pop, and those two companies are now partnering on a smartphone optimized for Wi-Fi, which of course has an Intel Sophia chip inside. Freedom Pop calls are routed over internet connections, preferably Wi-Fi when available, so this phone will optimize for that. No word on when we'll see the phone, though. Freedom Pop CEO Steven Stokels said they want to sell the device for less than $200, but that's all the details they would give.
Interesting. Google leased and spent $6 million renovating a 5,442 square foot retail space at 131 Green Street in Manhattan. And now, according to Cranes, Google has put up the space for sublease at $2.25 million a year.
But,
well done, Google.
yeah, I mean, as a retail move, they're just flipping it. They sunk some money in the renovations. Now they can make it back in 3 years.
So this was initially thought of to become a Google store, basically, right?
Yeah.
And they've stepped away from that move.
Who knows what they've done? Obviously, according to this Cranes article, they're not going to put a Google store in there, but maybe they're going to partner with somebody on a store that would include some Google products and not only Google products. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what goes in here because this is definitely a high-end retail space.
Or maybe Google had the initial lease, then it became Alphabet, and now Alphabet is leasing to Google.
That doesn't seem to be what they're saying in the Crane story, but I like the way your mind works.
The creative way in which I'm choosing to approach the story. Thank you.
Amazon, however, did open a retail shop Tuesday in Seattle's University Village, thus fulfilling the prophecy I made on a show years ago where I said Amazon will someday open a retail shop. They did it. They finally did it. Amazon Books is the name of the store. It stocks books based on customer ratings and pre-orders from Amazon.com. Data from Goodreads is also considered in their stocking decisions. Amazon says prices in the store will be the same as online, and in a move that just rips off Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble has the big Nook table. Well, they got a big Kindle table with Fire tablets and Fire TV and Amazon Echo. And it's
I think people don't think stores are ever completely going to go away. I'm wondering if it isn't as much of a marketing move for Amazon in the sense that it puts their presence in places where they weren't necessarily before. I'm not sure how much money they're going to be making there. Maybe they will, but it seems to confirm the idea that bookstores are still going to be there. They're not going to be by far the primary way in which you purchase books, but we need brick and mortar.
There has been a lot made of the fact that publishing has not dived the way the music business did, that book sales have actually recovered in print versus ebooks. Some people have lots of theories about that's because ebook prices have been kept artificially high, et cetera, et cetera. There's been some surveys that said younger people in particular enjoy reading print books over reading ebooks because they spend so much time on their digital devices. They like the break of being able to read away from that. So maybe there's something to that there, but I think you're right. Like the idea that this can be even a loss leader if it didn't make money at getting people exposed to Amazon and then using all of that data country. I mean, this is also could be a big data story of saying, hey, we know what people like through Amazon.com, so we can make a successful bookstore that will make money because we know exactly what to stock, and anything that doesn't sell, we just sell on Amazon.com. So we don't lose the money in any case anyway.
Yeah, makes sense. Sling TV today announced its streaming TV service now works with Google's Chromecast. Subscribers who prepay for 3 months of Sling service can get a free Chromecast, and Chromecast owners can get a 2 months free trial of Sling TV's basic package. In other cord-cutting news, Jon Stewart announced he's signed a deal to do short-form bits for HBO Now.
None of which will be available in France, either the Sling TV or the HBO Now stuff.
The HBO, they've been putting content on YouTube. It's usually a few months late, obviously, but I get some of it. Oh, wait, no. Am I thinking John Oliver? Is he on HBO?
Yes, he is on HBO, and I have a feeling there's a connection there, right? John Oliver used to be a correspondent on The Daily Show. I'm sure that those two talked. And Jon Stewart is going to be doing short bits throughout the day. So it's exactly the kind of things that you could put on YouTube, for sure.
Yeah.
Reuters reports oil and retail conglomerate Reliance Industries is expected to begin offering fast data service across India by early 2016. That may sound like a boring story to you, but it involves a fight between wealthy brothers, the stuff of which Bollywood is made. India's richest man, Mukesh Ambani, owns Reliance Industries, which will operate a mobile service under the brand name Jio. Ambani's younger brother, Anil Ambani, owns Arcom, a separate company which just bought Russian group Sistema's Indian mobile phone business. So there's a fight on your hands between brothers in the mobile phone space. And India needs a shakeout in the mobile phone space anyway. 8 of the 12 carriers in India have market share of less than 10%. So all the analysts are saying expect acquisitions and mergers to become much more likely in Indian mobile carriers starting now.
You know what? I can't wait to go see the musical.
The musical Reliance.
It's actually a pretty catchy title, I think.
For the Reliance.
Microsoft updated its Windows lifecycle fact sheet to indicate the last day you can buy a PC with Windows 7 pre-installed will be October 21st, 2016.
31st.
That's the... Oh, did I say 21st? Sorry. 31st. I'm sure, a number of listeners were starting to panic because
put it in their date books. I know.
But with an added 10 days, they can rest easy now. That's the same day Windows 8.1 will leave the market. Windows 7 extended support will run through January 14, 2020.
Yeah, so Windows 7 obviously preferred to Windows 8 for a long time, but Windows 10 going forward will just be itself all the time, and we won't. This is the last time we'll see these kinds of dates once Windows 8 is phased out. So, Interesting. And that, my friends, is some of the stories that you submitted to us, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Please keep submitting them, keep voting them. It's not we don't just look at that and put it right into the headlines, but it does help us figure out what's important to put on the show. Now, some stuff gets voted up there and it's old, or it's linking to stories that are old, or linking to stories that are reposting old stories. So if something gets voted up there, sometimes it's just interesting in the context of the subreddit and won't make the show, but other times it's the top thing, like we had today with a couple of stories, and we put it in there. The only way we know for sure is if you vote. So go to dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and that is a look at the headlines.
And it is important to vote, as people should remember today, especially since you mentioned it was a voting day today. So
well done.
Go vote on Reddit.
Vote early, vote often. Which you can do on Reddit, actually. Yeah. Activision Blizzard. Okay, they're buying King. King makes Candy Crush. Candy Crush is the only thing that King is known for. They've made other games. And they've even made Candy Crush Soda, which was a sequel to Candy Crush. But really, Candy Crush is it. Candy Crush makes up a third of King's revenues. Consumer spending on King titles has been cratering a little bit, flattening out, fell 13% year over year in Q2. On the other hand, Candy Crush has 474 million monthly average users. Compare that to Hearthstone, Blizzard's mobile property, with 25 million players.
I think they've gone to 30 recently.
Okay, so we'll call it 30, but the point remains 474 million monthly active versus 30 million players. This is a big deal. At the same time, Activision Blizzard is saying that King will operate independently the way Blizzard does. Blizzard kept its CEO, kept its unit together, and keeps being Blizzard even though it's part of Activision. They say the same thing will happen to King. So what's going on here, Patrick? What does Activision Blizzard get with something that is definitely still generating money, but doesn't really have the prospects to increase that money that are obvious?
It's a really different mess to untangle. There are a lot of factors. And first of all, I guess I should say I have been an employee of Blizzard, which is a subsidiary of Activision Blizzard that owns Blizzard, Activision Publishing, now an esports division, and in a few months, King. So full disclosure, I've worked there.
You worked there more than a year ago, right? Yeah.
Yeah, more than a year ago, sure. But the big thing that we've been hearing about those game companies that operate in the mobile space is that they're usually one-hit wonders. And it certainly seems that way. I mean, when you look at Rovio, especially, Rovio managed to make a lot of money with Angry Birds, but they haven't managed to reproduce that success. Supercell is another one that has been very popular with Clash of Clans. They have a couple of additional games, but it also seems their main cash cow is Clash of Clans. I'm wondering if, in the case of Kings, we're not putting them in this we're not putting them in the same basket, when actually their offering is a little bit more diversified. They have had multiple games in the charts, and when you say Candy Crush represents a third of their, I don't know if it's revenue or benefits or income or whatever, a third of the money they have somewhere, it might seem like a lot, but I think it puts them, if you flip it around, they make 70% of their money with other games, which I'm not sure those other one-hit wonder companies can claim. So I'm thinking Activision was looking at the space, and they are absent from that space. If you look at other big companies in the industry, Ubisoft and EA, for example, they have presence in that space. Ubisoft, it might be through Gameloft, which is a separate company but owned by the brother. Again, brothers in that industry, not even fighting, but going with a partnership there. Activision is not. So I think it's a way for them to get into that space because they know it's important and do it easily. Basically, well, it might be expensive, but it is easy, and it might be that company specifically is the best potential they have to not just buy one game, but actually buy a company that knows how to make multiple games.
Yeah, and I can see a couple of different justifications for this. One being that Candy Crush is still the 4th highest grossing app on the App Store. Candy Crush Soda is the 6th highest grossing app on the App Store. They earned $554 million in revenue, with $140 million in profit. So if that, even if it's declining, if that continues to have some momentum, you've got something that's going to continue to pay for itself for a while. And then you can pull a Nintendo and say, hey, we need a mobile expert to take some of these awesome intellectual properties we have and turn them into great mobile games. Oh, guess what? We just bought one. We don't have to contract with you. We can just have you do it.
That's very important. I think a lot of people will look at Activision and look at King and think, oh, well, they're making games. Why does Activision need King? But they are very different kinds of games. The best analogy I can find, thinking of it now, might be making movies and making TV shows. Core games for real gamers, quote unquote real gamers, are very different from games that are created for the mobile space. So even though Blizzard has created a very successful core game with Hearthstone, as we were saying, they have 25 or 30 million players now, and it is on mobile, it's still a game that gamers are going to want to play, and maybe a little bit less people who are commuting, right? And
yeah, I mean, it's a desktop game that lends itself very well to mobile, and they were smart to make it mobile. But right. It was, if I recall correctly, one of the interviews on the Angry Chicken I heard, where they said that they thought of it as a desktop game first, and then
I believe that's the case.
And then early on realized that they could easily turn it into mobile.
Yeah. So the best way to think of this that I found, and I've thought about this a lot, is core gamers are people that are going to be setting time aside to play games. Casual gamers are those that are going to be playing games when they have some time to spare, right? In transportation, when they're queuing at the doctors or whatever. And those games are not created the same way. And another thing that's really important, you might think, again, well, they know how to make games. Maybe they should think about how to make them on smartphones. And then that's heavy speculation. But I'm wondering if there's just a thing where the developers and the teams working on the core games that Activision and Blizzard already create are not willing to go and start working on smartphone-specific games because, for whatever reason, it's not the same thing. It's not as creatively satisfying. It's not the real thing, whatever. I'm thinking it's easier for Activision to just buy a company that already does it than to transform their whole organization or create, special departments to do things where people might not necessarily going to want to go work, or get something from the ground up and hire an entire company to do that. It's just easier. Now,
which is why you would leave King as an independent company, saying like, you guys are good at that. You keep being good at that. There may be other opportunities outside of Activision Blizzard that you should be free to pursue, but hopefully we can take advantage of our brotherly love here.
Yeah, of course. It would make sense that they would try and offer some games based on the franchises that Activision operates. Call of Duty is one. Maybe we're going to see some, Call of Candy or Duty Crush.
Well, and that's where my conspiratorial mind, inspired by you earlier, was like, hey, we just saw that Warcraft movie teaser. Trailer's coming later this week. Are we going to see a Candy Crush movie?
Maybe.
No, we're not. Hopefully not. It would be worse than Pixels.
We're seeing movies based on
Pixels
on
the movie,
board
not Pixels
games.
the podcast.
But the other question is the price.
Yeah,
$6
TVZ
billion.
Gone in the chat room said, is King worth 50% more than Marvel or Lucasfilm?
Exactly. And to that, honestly, I don't know. I think King as such might not be worth all that money. I honestly don't know. It's so, it's abstract numbers almost at that level. But the fact that they know what they're doing, the fact that they might be the least single, hit wonder-ish company of the bunch, and the fact that Activision just might want to get into that space where they're late, and it saves them the work of actually having to build an entire division. And there's another thing. They are using cash from overseas, from the American point of view. It's money that they would need to pay taxes on if they brought it back into the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. And
they'd have to pay taxes on if they brought it into the EU. I mean, it's offshore money, and that's kind of a whole separate topic. But apparently, that's a new thing: is to take your offshore money and buy something with it, so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
So maybe in the end it is. I thought it was money in the EU, and since King is, well, maybe no. I'm not sure.
No,
anyway,
King's based in London.
Okay.
Oh, but where's Activision Blizzard based now? Because they're the ones spending the money.
Well, they're in the U.S. They have companies in Europe, of course, but that's maybe asking a little bit.
When they
too
said it
much
was
of
offshore
me.
money, for some reason I assumed it was in St. Kitts somewhere or something like that. But that's a good question.
Maybe not. But I mean, either way, that money, it did get mentioned. And so I think this might also be a kind of opportunity where, yes, it's $6 billion, but not all of those $6 billions are real money because they couldn't be using it for something else. That's the kind of thing they could be using it for the most efficiently. So it's almost funny money in a way. If you
Activision Blizzard paid 6 Twitches. Or 3 Oculuses, or just a little less than 1 Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm sold for $4.05 billion. So
a little more.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like Canadian dollar versus U.S. dollar here at that point. It's so close, $4.05 billion to $5.9 billion. It's more than half. Yeah, so I guess it's almost 2 Lucasfilms, almost.
It's 1.5 Lucas.
1.5 Lucasfilms, yeah. But and here's the thing. Twitch, brand new, doesn't have a lot of backlog, cash in the bank, intellectual property, etc.
They're not
Lucasfilm,
making money, right?
Huge amount of intellectual property that you can exploit. And Candy Crush is kind of in between. Like, I guess they got a little bit of intellectual property, but not a lot. What they have is revenue, though. And so I think that's one of the things that you're paying for there.
The other thing as well is that King is sort of on board with this. So they are making money, but the prospects are not what they were when they IPO'd last year. Their stock price is lower than it was, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go back up anytime soon. So it might be a confluence of perfect situations that make this deal make sense when you just look at the 6 million for Candy Crush? It's kind of mind-boggling. But and there's also another thing.
You would have thought Activision Blizzard would have got King for free, but then would have to pay for in-corporation purchases.
Huh?
You know, freemium model. Like,
oh,
you want us to actually do something? You want an HR service? Well, that is going to cost you.
That would have been excellent. I guess the other thing to look at very quickly before we move on is the fact that, of course, we all know that smartphone games are very important and are a massive portion of the market. It's looking like the very early indications might indicate that they're making money, they're popular on the Apple TV as well. So that market might still be growing.
There's independent analysts who are figuring out how to get the rankings out of Apple TV, and some Apple TVs, although not mine, are starting to show a chart you can look at. Keep in mind, though, I don't think anything you purchased on iOS previously counts in those rankings. So, for instance, I was able to reinstall Netflix because I already owned it on my iPhone and iPad. I don't think that counts as a purchase. So the games are the one thing that you are less likely to have already because they're made for Apple TV OS, and there's just so many more games in the iOS universe. I think that may be muddying those waters. I'll be interested to see over time what the usage and the grossing apps are on the Apple TV.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is very early on, and it might be that it falls off or that it's not even as high as people might think. But I'm guessing that it might have played into the thought process of, Bobby Kotick and his lieutenants thinking we need to be in the casual gaming space.
Well, because it's not just Apple TV, right? It's Fire TV, exactly. It's Android, Nexus, the Nexus Player. It's the Shield from NVIDIA. Like, everybody's trying this, so it's definitely something you want to be positioned to enter should it take off.
And those games are a lot closer to the casual smartphone games than they are to the core PC or console games. So a lot of factors again.
All right, our pick of the day comes from Tony, who said, if you got only 15 seconds to spare and you need your daily dose of tech news, tips, and tricks, follow 15sec Tech. That's 15SECTECH on Instagram. It's hosted by Laura Killian, Jeff MacArthur, and our friend Amber Mack. 15sec Tech has some pretty cool insights, although 15 seconds isn't really enough to get a full scope of a product or service. It's just enough to tease it. And if you're not an Instagram user, they've got a site at 15sectech.com. Tony says that's my pick, and I'm sticking to it. I love it when Amber was part of the launch of 15sec Tech. It's a really cool thing on Instagram. You should go check it out, or go to 15sectech.com. Send your picks to us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Christian Cantrell wrote in and said about Chrome OS versus Android. Chrome OS is primarily a funnel for Google's services, which are important, but they're not nearly important as Google's advertising business, at least not to its bottom line. And the advertising battle isn't happening on the desktop or in the browser. It's happening on mobile, the battle. They're making plenty of money off desktop, but the big battle is in mobile. So Christian says, I suspect Google is trying to find a way to use Chrome OS as a vector for Android growth, and one way to do that would be to merge the two. I'm pretty certain that a significant percentage of those 30,000 students who activate Chromebooks each day go home and either use iOS devices or aspire to use iOS devices, and that's where the real revenue opportunities await if they could change them to wanting an Android device because they've got all these great Android apps that they use on their Chromebook.
It's an interesting theory.
Yeah. Most people seem to think that Chrome OS will stay without having an Android merger for the education and enterprise markets, but Christian may be right. They may not get rid of Chrome OS, but just keep adding Android functions to it.
Yeah, definitely a possibility.
Russell said, really interesting discussion on services on demand yesterday with Veronica. I was listening to Spark on CBC, and they were featuring an author named Craig Lambert, who wrote a book called Shadow Work, which outlines and discusses the rise of the amount of unpaid work we are doing on behalf of businesses. This book brings another point of view into the conversation. It takes a lot about the loss of basic entry-level stepping stone jobs and the erosion of leisure time. So like doing work at home in your off hours. He said, I thought I would send along a link to the book's site at counterpointpress.com. We'll include that in the show notes as well. Thank you, Russell. Leisure time has not gotten bigger, even with all these technological advances.
One of the options is to make your leisure into your work, and then you'll be leisuring around all the time.
Then you'll be working all the time. Rich from lovely Cleveland was using some of his leisure time to try out that Windows 10 app maker, and he got his DTNS app polished up and submitted to the Windows 10 App Store. Bravo! He writes, the app has been accepted, should be in the Windows 10 App Store pretty soon. So, folks, take a look. Find yourself a DTNS app direct from Cleveland.
From lovely Cleveland.
From lovely Cleveland. And that's it for the show. Thank you, Patrick Beja. Twitter.com/notpatrick if you want to follow him on Twitter and send him lots of hearts. FrenchSpin.com to find his English language podcasts. And you've always got something interesting in the hopper, don't you?
Well, today I will recommend the 24th episode of Pixels. We had Scott Johnson on.
24 already. That's great.
Yeah, it's been a year. We do it every 2 weeks, so it's an easy way to get updated on the important news in the video game industry. This week, we're talking about the Paris Games Week announcement, a lot more PlayStation VR, Overwatch, more impressions on Overwatch, that awesome game from my previously employer, Blizzard Entertainment, and we did a little bit of a end-of-year releases bingo, where we go through every game released in the 3 last months of the year and decide whether or not we want it immediately or on our Christmas list or not at all. So it's a nice way to help you guys, make your opinion on the games that are coming out.
Excellent stuff, folks. Go check it out, FrenchSpin.com. If you want to hear me babble about the first 6 Star Wars movies, I've put together a little casual podcast called Pretend I'm Dumb About Star Wars. You can find it at TomMerritt.com/PIDASW. The first episode will be coming out later this week, where I pretend I've never seen Star Wars The Phantom Menace, even though I have, and try to decide what I would think of it had I not come to it with all of the knowledge that I obviously have. So it's just a fun experiment. If you're interested, TomMerritt.com is the place to find that. Thank you to our...
Do you have... Did you put together an RSS feed or everything, or is it just on your site?
No, it's on the site. Nice. There's an RSS feed, and I'll throw it at my YouTube channel as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you to our patrons. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support is the place to go to become one of them. They are filled with an inner light of satisfaction that they made this show happen every day, Monday through Friday. And that could become every day, Sunday through Friday, if we get to the next milestone goal and get Peter Wells to do an international version of the show on day 6, which would be his Monday. So help us out if you can. If you're willing, dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Also, don't forget to commemorate year 2 of Daily Tech News Show. Len Peralta is doing a special 11x17 commemorative poster based on Star Wars The Force Awakens that features all of the hosts and possibly you. There's a couple ways to get your name on it. Go to go to lenperaltastore.com for details. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Our phone number is 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom. Good show.
Nice.
Patrick, have you seen the update of that poster? You look amazing.
So am I the guy in the hood?
You're the guy in the blue hood.
Yeah. I do look amazing. I just
look
retweeted
amazing.
it. I know. I didn't realize I looked that good.
Like, you look all Jedi, scary, serious, Frenchy. It's amazing.
I want to look like that guy in real life.
I know. And Justin, I just can't even. Justin is so beyond the beyond in this picture. It's amazing.
Yeah, really nice. However, I am going to run away right now because my head is
well done.
Killing me.
Thank you for making it through. That was an awesome show.
Playing through the pain.
Exactly. Playing hurt.
That's what I do. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks, chat room.
Hope it goes away soon.
Here. He hope what?
Hope your headache goes away soon.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I hope to.
Okay.
In other awesome news, there's an honest trailer out for The Force Awakens, and it's amazing.
How can they do an honest trailer when they haven't seen the movie yet, though?
It's an honest trailer for the trailer.
Okay. All right. I can see that. I can't wait to watch it.
It's hilarious. Okay, would you like some titles?
I'm going with Call of Candy Crush.
Oh, all right.
I'm making an executive decision today.
That's good.
I was just looking through them while you guys were talking. I was like, boom, that one's it.
I was a fan of May the Likes Be Ever in Your Favorites.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, go through some of the other ones, though. No need for them to labor in anonymity.
Acta Blizz Candy Crush YOLO Swag Saga. Microsoft has altered the deal. Pray they don't alter it further. We've finally gone full Bezos. Twitter doesn't believe in the magic of stars. I love the poetry of these.
Yeah, that was good. I really liked the star. I don't care if they change it to like. I actually prefer like to favorite in this particular case, but I like the star.
Yeah.
The heart sort of feels...
The heart has, like, implications.
Yeah. And I know it looks like an upside-down butt to Amtracker. No, I can't see it any other way.
Yeah. Cash for Candy Crush Craft. A blizzard of candy.
Nice. And I know that my upside-down butt must go on.
Oh, my God. Candies of the Storm.
Ah, that's good. Candies of the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not what they mean, but...
All right, I still think yours is the best. But I do like May the Likes Be Ever in Your Favorites. That's my kind of pun.
And output. Nice.
Tom, you look really awesome in the poster too, but you look just like
I know
you,
he died.
but,
I think he cut it out of an earlier poster.
But it looks great. But it's different. It's more.
Did he put a new version up yet?
Yes, it's up in his Twitter, and I just retweeted it. Justin looks so incredible. I like have to hide under the table.
I feel like that's the last one I saw then, because
the one where you guys are done. But no, the one where it's in color.
Oh no, I haven't seen it in color.
Yeah. Oh my God, you should see it. Like, it's spectacular. And not just because he did give me Princess Leia buns.
That's what I was wondering.
Oh yeah. I think my whole career path is now clear.
Oh yeah, because Patrick's got the blue glow now.
Doesn't he look incredible?
Yeah.
And Veronica looks amazing. I don't know what's on her head, but
those are ears. Those are little attachable ears that she was wearing at DragonCon. Actually.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So she's Chewbacca.
I get it.
I guess I don't know.
I get it. I would have put her in whatchamacallit braids. What's her name? The girl. Daisy.
Who, Ray? Daisy Ridley's character?
Ray braids. But maybe that's too subtle for
well, I think what he saw her at DragonCon with those ears. I think he was like, oh yeah, that makes her alien.
Well, I guess I really do have to plug in my computer before it depowers in the middle of this post show.
Always plug in.
I know. I was trying to get through it.
Never trust power.
It's got to be plugged in this whole place.
Trust no battery. TNB.
TNB. Oops. Riders on the storm.
Heroes of the storm.
Got that in my head. Come on.
That was one of the most pretentious movies I've ever seen.
I know. Oh my God.
And I was one of the most pretentious college students who saw it several times.
I bet you were a handful in college. Oh boy. All right. Let's see. Why is Roger? Oh, Roger's on silent because his baby's asleep. Yeah. Let's see. What more can I glean from this poster?
So he's got Darren.
Darren is yet to be drawn in. I'm yet to be drawn in, but I've seen the incredibly pertinent part. Roger's hanging out there. Scott looks like he has raccoon hair, but I think that is just until he draws it in. That's the pencil sketch.
I'm sure. Or Scott changed his hair.
Well, he did, but to a unicolor. And it's hard to see in the color version, but Len made himself BB-8, which is adorable.
Yeah, no, I saw that in the sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see it as well in the color yet.
Yeah. I think that's going to be, this poster is going to be the most frameable thing that was ever in my office.
The Halloween one was awesome.
Yes.
And this one is just, he's like surpassing himself.
It's just amazing. I'm so excited.
Excuse me, I don't mean to yawn.
That's okay.
It's the time change. The dogs haven't figured out that the time changed. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what the problem is. Can't they see the clock?
Come on, dogs.
Like it's not 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. Go back to sleep.
So I've just found a random something, and I don't know if it came from my kit or it doesn't look like anything that belongs to me.
Oh, it's making a buzzing sound, whatever it is.
Oh, no, I put my mic down for a second. It's just like a little gold doohickey.
It's gold.
But now here's my dilemma. If I take this from here and it belongs to the Radio Foundation.
Hey, have you ever read Time and Again by Jack Finney?
I not only read it, it's one of my favorite time travel books of all time.
I have been thinking about you a lot while reading it because of all the New York.
Yeah, the Upper West Side. It's like right in my hood.
Yep.
And it is an incredible book, and there was a sequel. Did you know that?
Yes. You'd know that too if you either are already Jenny Josephson or listen to Sword and Laser when we kicked off the book, because it's this month's pick.
God, is Jack Finney still around?
No, he's not. He's no longer with it. In fact, he died shortly after he wrote the sequel.
The sequel, yeah.
Because he had planned a third one, and he never got around
God,
to
I
it.
love those books. I wish they would make those into something, but it's
Thing
hard.
is, I don't think they're science fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily. That doesn't have anything to do with you saying they should make them into something, because that's a separate thing, and I agree they should.
They're more historical with a thought exercise about time travel.
They're like the time traveler's wife.
Yes.
Right? Like more in that vein. Because I mean, he does try to have some Einstein stuff and physics and everything, but I'm like, not to get too spoilery, but really the science is not the point.
The science is not there.
If you start looking at the science, you're gonna be like, wait, what? No. But once you get past that, if you just like, all right, well, I'm along for the ride, then it's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, the lighting in here is so amazing, and it's just like panel lights.
Really? Archive.org? I put November 3rd, and it wouldn't accept it until I put 03. Forgotten that it's that picky.
A little picky. Right back to their Len there.
I've got an MP3 for you folks I think you're going to like. It's called Today's Show. And I'm putting it in the blog right now. Help me, Len Peralta. You are my only hope.
I know. I'm so excited for this poster. You should really go watch the Honest trailer when you're done because it's so funny.
All right. That is what I call a show. Thanks, everybody. See you
Bye,
tomorrow.
everybody.